So on Thursdays, I want to share with you from a book that I'm reading, and I didn't do one last Thursday, but I was thinking about it, so I'm just recording that one for today. So a book I've been reading is called The Three Deceivers. It's a little bit weird, but it has some really cool principles as well. The idea is that, in our society, people get really hung up on three things: control, ownership, and independence. And this part is kind of about control, and he says that, control is an illusion. We really have very little control over our lives, and that the only person who's really in control of anything is God. And he talks about kind of the solution to this obsession with control that we have as being serendipity. And so serendipity is when things that you didn't plan for come up, but they're actually perfect. So one example of serendipity in my life is when I found out I was pregnant with you, and when you were born. As you know, I didn't want to have kids. I never thought that I would be good with kids. I didn't think I liked kids, which, as you know, I love kids. And then when I found out I was pregnant with you, I loved you already, and I wanted to keep you. And I was very nervous and scared that I was gonna mess you up, but at the same time hopeful. And then after you were born, and I was taking care of you as a baby, I just felt so loved by you, and I just felt so much love for you, and I felt so connected to you. And it was just you coming into my life was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And so that is a perfect example of serendipity. And other examples of serendipity in my life are when I met David, because it was the same thing. I never wanted to be married, never even wanted to be in a relationship again. And then he came along and was absolutely perfect. And then another one, of course, is when I started to understand the gospel and started to feel my heart changing towards the gospel, because I also wanted nothing to do with religion. And yet religion came along and has been so wonderful for me, and has been everything that I have needed. So those are examples of serendipity, and the idea is that you can foster serendipity in your life by not trying to control every single detail of your life, but also not trying to just be completely just letting life kind of take you from one. You need to make goals. You need to try to create things in your life. The way that serendipity happens best is when you're working and striving for something better. But you just have to be flexible in those things of okay, well, this was my plan, and things are not going according to plan, but I'm able to see how the things that happened that were not part of my plan actually were better. And it's kind of a mentality that you can have. So there's a part of the book that I wanted to read that's really great. I just have a screenshot on David's phone so I can read it to you, because I can't access it on my phone. So it says, there's a low realm in which people float, sometimes passive, sometimes resentful, letting the world push, mold, shove, and shape them, as it will, following the course of least resistance, going nowhere slowly. Then there is a middle realm where people do their best to take control of themselves and their destinies, shaping events, setting goals, making things happen, drawing a blueprint, and then building it. And then there's a higher realm, higher than the low and higher than the middle. It involves prayerfully, carefully setting goals, asking and striving to have inspiration to make them conform to God's will. Sometimes God gives us a light even as we pray, meaning gives us some direction of that's not gonna, don't go with that plan, that's a bad plan, go with a different plan, or that's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. And sometimes he lets us figure that out on our own. Watching for answers, further light and knowledge, nudges that make our destiny, our foreordination, and God's will more clear. And I found that on the days I try to control everything and I try to micromanage every little detail, I end up really frustrated, even if the things that come along that are not part of my plan are good things. I end up still kind of feeling flustered and out of sorts because I did not plan on this. And so I'm working on this myself, of trying to have this attitude of serendipity where the things that come along that are not